broiler farming or layer farming? This is one question I get asked a lot of times whenever people meet me. So they would always ask, which do you think I should go for? Which do you think is more profitable? So in this video today, I am going to be sharing details about both broiler and layer farming, and then I'll be sharing these details based on my own experience as a layers farmer and other information I have gotten from other farmers, and then you'll be able to make a decision to which you should go into. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. To my returning subscriber, welcome my people. And if you're seeing a video from me for the first time, hi guys, my name is Modupe and I am a poultry YouTuber based in Nigeria. Of course, I am making this video from Nigeria. And I hope that by the end of this video, by the time you watch this video to the end, you will decide to join this fine family. Okay, in case you don't want to decide to join the family, I am pleading with you that before you leave, you please subscribe to this channel and let's all grow together. Please subscribe, please like, please share. Thank you. In today's video, like I said, I am talking about layer farming, broiler farming. Which should you go for? Which is more profitable? So because I am not going to tell you to go for this one or to go for that one, I'm actually just going to discuss all this in like 3 headings. I'm going to talk about what broiler chickens are, what layer chickens are, and I'll also talk about the difference between both of them. And the third aspect will be which should you go for. So let's get into today's video. What are broilers and what are layers? Broilers are chickens or birds that are raised basically, solely, mainly for the purpose of meat. Yes, that's just their own job. They've been genetically modified in such a way that their genes will make them grow so fast. In 6 weeks, your broilers are ready, like from day 1, day 2, day 42. By the end of 6 weeks, you would have broilers that have attained the weight of 2 kg, some 2.2 kg and thereabouts. So that's because they've been modified to grow faster than native chicken or even layers. Of course, they are grown basically or solely for the purpose of meat production, and they would always easily convert their feed to meat quickly. Layers, on the other hand, are raised solely for the purpose of egg. Like they are raised because we need the egg from them. So also they've also been modified in such a way that all the feed that they eat is converted to ensure that they lay egg. That's their own job. They are egg laying machines. Now that we have explained what layers are and what broilers are, let's now talk about the difference between the two of them. Number one is that broilers, of course, they're raised for meat. They grow faster. They are able to weigh faster than layers. Number two difference between them is that layers tend to develop disease more compared to broilers, and that's because layers are kept for a longer period of time, unlike broilers are kept for few weeks, maximum 7 weeks. From 6 weeks, you can sell your broiler chickens and get them out of your farm, unlike layers that you could keep them for 18 months in your farm, 2 years in your farm. So you'd know that, oh, over that period of time, they would have so many sicknesses or disease that you'd have to deal with. Another difference is that the initial capital for starting broiler is relatively cheaper, a lot cheaper than when you're starting layers farming, because so many things are involved in layers farming that are not needed or necessary in broiler production. Another difference also is that when raising broilers, you can actually start as a novice. You probably may not even have so much experience in poultry farming. Unlike layers, in layers you need a lot of expertise, a lot of skills to be able to raise the birds successfully with less mortality for the period you want to keep them for. For broilers, you can just start with maybe 20 of them, 30 of them, raise them in a small place and sell them off at as soon as they get to 6 weeks when they've attained their weight, and you make your profit. It's not like that in layers. So another difference between both layers and broiler is that in a short period you can start making your profit from broiler production. Like in 6 weeks, you buy the day-old chicks, you raise them, you sell them off, you make your profits. It's not like that in layers, because in layers you probably have to, if you're raising them from day-old, you'd have to keep them for about 20 weeks before they start laying eggs. So you're keeping layers for a longer time. You're spending more money on them, unlike broilers that you could just quickly have your profit turnover. Then also we have to consider the loss in the business. So in broiler production, if there is a case of loss, you can actually bounce back in no time. All you have to do is get another cycle of birds and raise them. It's not like that in layers. If any kind of loss happen, you probably take a longer time to get back on your feet to recover the loss, because when you get these birds, you know you're keeping them for a long time, for about 2 years. So imagine that something happened, a disease happened, and they get wiped out. It takes you a very long time to recover from the loss. So another difference between layers and broiler is that you can make your profit from a little number of broilers. Like I mentioned earlier, you could actually just have like 30 or 50 in a space, raise them, and after 6 weeks you sell them and you make your profit from them. But if you want to make any significant profit in layers farming, you need to have quite a number of them, like maybe starting from 200, 500, 1000. You have to have more numbers of layers to be able to, for your profit to be obvious, for your profit to be reasonable. Then of course another difference would be that layer birds, they lay egg for you that you're able to sell continuously, unlike broiler that you're just able to sell their meat when they attain that weight they should attain. So for layers, you're able to have like a continuous revenue from their eggs. So yeah, that's about the difference, and I hope you're following me. We've talked about what broilers are, what layers are. We've also talked about the difference between the two of them. So now we're not going to talk about which one you should go for, which one you think is more profitable for you. So when we have to look at which one you should go for, there are so many things you have to consider. Like you have to, so I would list a few of them. Then you can look through, make your analysis, and decide that, okay, this works for me, that works for me. You understand? So which should you go for? Number one, initial capital. So in poultry farming, you need lots of capital to start. However, in broiler production, the capital is not as much as you need in layers production. Yes, because in broiler production you can just get a space and raise and decide that every cycle you want to raise 1000 birds. At the end of 6 weeks, we sell the 1000 off. We probably take a rest of 1 week and bring in another set. So you just have to look at how much you have at the moment. It's more like saying, oh, broiler is short term, layer is long-term poultry investment. You understand? So your initial capital is actually very important, because in broiler you're going to need the birds, you're going to need feed, you're going to need medication, you're going to need vaccines and all that. Then in layers, you need all I have mentioned for broilers, and you now need more for layers because you're keeping them for a longer time. So you need more feed. You probably need cages for your birds and so much more. So you have to look at your capital. How much do I have? Yes, how much do I have? Look at how much you have and how much you're ready to spend. If you feel that you have more money with you, or more funds with you, more capital with you, you can go for layer farming. But if you have limited fund that you really want to turn over quickly, then you should go for broiler production. So when deciding which you should go for in layers and broiler, one thing you should actually have in mind is marketing of the product. Like you have to consider how you're going to sell off your products even before you stock. I'm talking of broiler now. Before you receive your day-old broilers, you should already have the market for them. If not, you're probably going to run into debt. Like you should have, maybe these are the people you want to sell to, or this is the person, this is the company you want to sell to. And if possible, have a contract with them so that at the end of the 6 weeks, they will not come back to tell you that, oh, they're no longer interested. Agree on the cost, on the price you're selling it to them. Agree on the time you're going to give it to them. Probably do your production costing and all that before you even bring the birds to your farm. In this way, you have to ensure that there's a ready market for your products. That's for broiler. If you're not sure that this is the market for your broiler, do not get into broiler production, else you're going to run into a whole lot of loss, because you're raising these birds for 6 weeks. If you don't sell them off at 6 weeks, the loss has started counting in. at the end of the day, you're realizing that, oh, from this cycle of production that you're expecting certain amount of money, you're not even able to make quarter of it because you have used what should be your profit to further feed. So in a way to avoid disappointments from buyers or from your customers is that when you're doing broiler, or if you want to do broiler, you should consider having a processing plant close to you or on your farm. That way you process the birds as soon as they get to 6 weeks. Process the birds and freeze them. Then you can sell them to cold rooms later on and all that. Of course, when you're processing, it means that you're adding to your costs, but it also means that you're also adding to your profits. Unlike layer production, if you want to go into layer, of course, layers are producing eggs. You can keep the egg for at least few more days. The birds will keep eating, of course, and laying more eggs, of course, but at least they still have the grace that you can keep them for a few more days before they start getting bad. They probably will not even get bad in 1 week, and you can decide on how much you want to sell them. And of course, for layer farming also, as soon as maybe you get the birds at 16 weeks or a day old, you have to start talking to people. Oh, I am going to be producing eggs at my farm, can I supply to you? Start talking to people so that by the time the egg starts getting out, by the time the chickens start laying the eggs, you're able to sell them out of your farm quickly. So anyway, one very important thing in both business is marketing. And of course for broiler, it is more serious in broiler because so that you do not get into any kind of loss, you have to market your product, your produce, even before they get to your farm. So are you ready to market? If you're able to market, then you might go for broiler production. Another thing you should consider when you want to either choose between broiler or layer farming is the skills and experience you have. If you're a novice in poultry farming, you're coming in for the first time, you might probably want to try broiler because you really do not need much to do. Of course, you just have to follow the routine, feed them, give them lights, give them their vaccine, a few of them lasota, gumboro, and you're done with your cycle. Unlike layers, you need a lot of skills, you need a lot of experience, or you probably need to employ somebody who has that skill, or you have to learn that skill yourself, probably go for training to be skilled in layer production. If you feel that you have the skill, you have the experience, or you're ready to learn it, then you probably might go for layer production. But if you just want to do something, probably have something very quick, then you probably might go for broiler production. So another thing to consider if you should go for broiler or if you should go for layer farming is disease outbreak and infection. In layer farming, because you're keeping the birds in your farm for a very long time, 2 years, they're going to be about 2 years by the time you're selling them off. So many things will happen in that 2 years. In all honesty, so many things will happen. You have to deal with maybe a disease outbreak, to deal with monthly medication schedule, you have to do with monthly vaccination and all that. But unlike broiler, you probably just have to, it's just 6 weeks and they're out of your farm. And most of these birds, they probably have most of these their illness or disease as they age, and broilers are not going to stay long in your farm. You're going to sell them off quickly, so you probably will not have to deal with that. So when you have to talk about do you have thick skin? Exactly. So do you have thick skin? If you think you don't have thick skin, then you probably would just go for broiler production and be done with it in no time. But of course for layers, if you feel that okay, you're ready to learn about it, you're ready to study about their disease and all that, and you're ready to stick to a medication schedule, then of course you're going to be fine. Lastly, and I know this is probably what is more important to a whole lot of people, that will be the long-term revenue of both of them. Of course, from everything I have said so far, it is obvious that broilers are going to be on your farm for a short time and layers are going to be on your farm for a longer period of time. Now, talking about the long-term revenue, layer farming will bring in more money than broiler because these birds, they lay at least one egg in every 26 hours. So let's say in a week, that's 7 days, you probably will get 5 eggs or maybe 6 eggs from one bird in 1 week. So at the end of, let's say you're keeping them, like in my farm, I probably keep my birds for about 18 months. At the end of 18 months, I am able to sell the birds as meat also. So you see that I get revenue from the birds by selling off their eggs every time, and once they are old I sell off the birds as meat. But of course the price I am selling off, I think currently one old layer is probably going for maybe 4,000 naira. I'm not sure how much broiler is being sold for per kg at the moment, but then you're still able to make revenue from them twice, like from the egg and from the meat. Unlike broilers, you get your revenue once, you sell the meat and that's it. All right, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, now is the time to do so. Please subscribe, please like, please share, please comment, let me know what you think. So at this point I have talked about what layers are, what broilers are, and the differences between them, and I've also listed things you should consider on which of them you should choose. I have listed them. So I'll just want to tell you that layer farming, broiler farming, both are great. Both of them would give you good revenue if they are done correctly. So having done all this analysis myself, I see that okay, layer production works for me. You can also do the analysis yourself and decide that okay, broiler production works for you. You can make profits from either broiler farming or layer farming, and you should also note that the profits you make from any of them will be dependent on the number of birds you raise. If you're raising 30 broilers, the profits you would make will be different from when you're raising 1,000 broilers, 20,000 broilers, 50,000 broilers and all that. And for layers, if you're raising 200 layers or 500 layers, will be different from when you're raising 2,000 layers, 5,000 layers, 10,000 layers, or even 100,000 layers. So that's about it. And again, you just have to look at what works for you as a person, your kind of person. What kind of risks are you able to take? What kind of capital do you have available to you? Are you able to market your product? And with all this, when you analyze it yourself, you're able to decide that okay, let me go for broiler production, or okay, I think layer production works for me. So that's about it today, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see on another video. If you have not subscribed at this point, you should please subscribe. Support my channel, support me. Anyway, bye bye, and we'll see on another video.